Barrett from Porterkeeper and Espresso Outlet. We are going to be dialing in the DF83, and I just opened this bag of coffee. Roasting date is April 18th of 2023, using the Ethiopia. So I will go ahead and get everything going. I already have everything pre-prepped and weighed out just to save some time. And I know Barrett will probably be prepping while I do my shot. So should we do direct dosing or should we do transferring of the cup?
I'll probably transfer out a cup on mine.
All right, yeah, I'll probably do the same. All right, so I'm starting right now at 25, 43. I'm at 22 right now, so we'll see where we go.
What's going on? A couple people commenting.
Here are the grinds. I mean, it's kind of hard to see right now just
what
because
kind
of
of
lighting.
coffee did you get, Dylan?
So I am using an Ethiopian from Good Brothers. It's got tasting notes of Teddy Grahams, tart citrus, and lingering finish.
Yeah, I've had that one. It's actually more astringent and lemony than what I was expecting.
I never ever use a spouted portafilter, but I figured I'd switch it up today.
That'd be fun. I got this Bolivian that I roasted over the weekend because I was just completely out of coffee. It's green juice, creamy, peach raisin graham cracker. It's honey processed. It's kind of a medium roast. It looks darker than what it is. But this thing has been really shocking, this Bolivian. And I only had like a 200-gram sample. But I was really shocked at like how much like it wasn't like your cherry stone fruit. It's very much like your peach and pear flavors, I think. But the graham cracker really just came screaming through too. So really interesting bean.
Sounds good.
We're dialing in. So I have the HE burrs. I'm on setting 20. I actually haven't used the 83 much in like a week. Have just too many grinders. So I don't know if it's going to run slow or fast. Probably a bit fast. Let's see.
All right. I will get up here so you can see the shot. Like I said, I've not dialed this in, so good thing is we'll know exactly where it's at. I'll just hold it at 9 bars of pressure so that way I'm not pressure profiling anything. So that's going to be right about 9 bars. So as you can see, got a little channeling on the right, and then it's also quite a bit over extracted. We're only at 10 grams in 30 seconds. So we are bring it back up to 9. 30. I'm going to try to get for 36. All right, so 36 grams in 46 seconds. So I'm about 16 to 18 seconds from where I want to be. So it's an 18-gram dose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change. So let me see exactly where I'm at. So here's 25, 43, 52. I think I'm at 21. So I need to go a little bit coarser. So I think I'm going to move this about 3.
Glad you like those beans, Linda.
I'll come about there. I would strongly recommend when you dial in to have the grinder running while you adjust it. Don't do what I did.
Oh, come on.
I'm one of those guys. All right. So we're going to do 18 grams in once again. This grinder is super quick.
Yeah, it's so fast.
I mean, it's scary quick. What number did you start on?
I'm putting mine on 20. I might go ahead and start grinding. I think it's going to run fast.
Yeah, I just tried that shot. Super bitter. It was not good at all.
Yeah, it even looks coarse to me. I had the grinder open yesterday for pictures, so between me not using it and it not dialed in, it's just really not even close, I don't think.
All right. I think dialing in is probably one of the scariest things people think about when they're first doing coffee, but it's really not bad at all once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
All right, we should get a pretty decent shot now. Should be running out pretty quick. Shot's looking pretty good.
It's actually not too bad. It's fast, but it's actually closer than I thought.
All right, so right now I'm getting really close. So 32, 3, 34, 35, 36 grams in 36 seconds. So we got it down 10 seconds. So I would probably move probably about one over, and I should be about perfect. All right. So now I got one more that I'll do. So this shot is actually probably pretty drinkable, but since we're dialing in, I'm going to get it exactly perfect. And I guess perfect is subjective. It's kind of based on your taste. I mean, that shot actually tasted pretty good, so I probably would be happy with that. But if we're just for the sake of the video trying to dial into a time, that's what I'll do.
So I started on 20, and my shot, it looked better than what I expected, but it ran pretty fast. I actually dropped it down to 17 because I felt like it was pretty coarse still.
All right, this shot should be pretty perfect.
So, Dylan, what do we look for when we're like dialing it in? Like, what's the perfect ratio for you?
I mean, it depends on the bean, honestly. Um, for the most part, I like a 1-to-2 ratio, but there's some select coffees maybe that's a little bit more fruitier, and I like to run them a little bit longer. I like to run a fruitier coffee. I don't know, probably around 1 to 2.5 to 3. I guess that's all based on preference as well,
Yeah,
but for the most part, a 1 to 2 would be sufficient.
there's our auto tamper.
All right, this shot should run pretty perfect on 30 seconds here. So,
Not bad.
Well, Barrett, it looks like we're going to hit right at that mark.
Gonna be perfect.
Oh, yeah. 30 seconds with 35.4 grams, 35.5.
Money.
So pretty much the whole point is usually on a dial, now this isn't for every grinder, but a good rule of thumb when you're looking at, let me undo this. So you can say whether you agree or not, but I'm saying most grinders, when you dial, if you go coarser or finer, and you go, if it's a stepless grinder at least, each step or each stepless adjustment that you make averages about 5 to 7 seconds when you're pulling a shot of espresso time wise. So if like you saw I was 36 seconds away and all I did was go one courser and we were exactly at 30 seconds. So when I was at 46 seconds, then I know I had to go about 16. So I did on purpose just go a little bit of an adjustment just so I could save a little bit because we've already prepped 3 shots. So rule of thumb, if you're going to go, it's not as hard as people say, or the process might look a little bit scarier than it actually is. But just think that when you go coarser, your shot's gonna run faster, and when you go finer, your shot's gonna go slower. So I always got taught when you're looking to dial in espresso, when you look at two glasses, you look at a glass full of sand and a glass full of rocks. The glass full of sand, when you pour water into that glass, it's going to take forever for the water to touch the bottom of the glass. So you got to think of that as fine particles when you're grinding fine for espresso. So the finer it goes, the longer it takes. And then with a glass full of rocks, obviously the water is going to hit the bottom pretty much right away. So the coarser you go, it's like a glass of rocks. So it's just a lot easier to think of that analogy when dialing in, and think about 4 to 7 seconds, let's say, when dialing in each way, fine or coarse, for the time wise. But I'll go ahead and try this shot. Cheers. So oddly enough, I actually like the second one the best. The one that ran 36 seconds with a 1-to-2 ratio. I think that it had a well more balanced taste to it. It wasn't as, I guess you can say, citrusy. So I think I got more of the mellow Teddy Graham as opposed to the citrus side of the actual coffee, running it a little bit longer. So that's why it's kind of hard to say whether you should just do a 1-to-2 ratio at this certain time, because based on taste, it might not always be the case per different beans that you dial in.
I think another rookie mistake that people make is, I guess it's too far here. They say it's going too fast or too slow. They do like 5 or 10 setting increments. They go way too far. 5 at a
Yep.
time. Usually, what I recommend people on a brand new grinder is, I mean, I wouldn't start at 0 because 0 is too fine, but maybe start at like 15, which is really fine. And if it chokes out your grinder, go up to 20. If it still chokes out your grinder, go up to 25. You can do that 5 setting increment just to find where you're at. But then from there, you're really not wanting to make over a 1 setting adjustment. Because I hear people, they say, man, I went through 3 pounds of beans and I didn't even get it dialed in. I'm like, man, it should be dialed in like 3 shots. So kind of use some deductive reasoning. It might help you. I usually say go a little bit too fine, maybe even 20. Go a little bit too fine and go coarser, because going too coarse and trying to go finer, you're actually going to struggle more.
This is the one reason I do not use spouted portafilters. They take forever to clean.
I'm going to pull my second shot here. So I went from 20 to 17. We're going to try to put the scale on.
Is that choked out?
No, it's perfect.
Is it?
Yeah, it's coming out. You can't see. It could actually probably hair finer. So there's 30 grams in 20 seconds. So I'd actually go probably one setting finer. And I would consider this completely dialed in.
How long did that run you?
Dang it. This scale didn't save it. It was like 22 seconds and 37 grams. So,
How's
like,
it
if I was
taste?
trying to get this even closer, I would actually go one more setting finer, maybe 1.5. And I bet it'd be pretty much honey.
Did it taste pretty good though?
The first one that ran really fast, shockingly tastes really good, which usually they don't. This one I'm going to let set a sec. Let's see. I'd say the second one that ran slower is definitely a lot better in this case. This Bolivia, I ran it like as a ristretto probably yesterday. Oh man, it was so damn good. It was ridiculous. It was just like syrup.
That good, huh?
It was good. This bean has really surprised me.
Which one is it?
This is Bolivian that I roasted. I only had like a 200-gram sample. It says juicy and creamy. It's peach, raisin, and graham cracker, and that pretty much is like right on the money. I kind of get some pear in there. It's a really interesting bean.
All right, so this is going to be not a very good comparison because they've already been sitting here forever. But so I have right here, I have the 46-second shot, the 36-second shot, and the 30-second shot. So they've all pretty much cooled down. So I'm going to go ahead and taste them all again now that they're all pretty much cooled down, just so I can give you the taste between how much time actually makes a difference with your espresso. So this one is the 46 seconds. So normally the longer it goes, you can just think that it's going to be right off the bat a little bit more bitter, just because the water has a lot more contact time with the puck. So it's just gonna make it taste not that great. But you never know. That's awful. Okay, so we're gonna go. I would not recommend that one at all. It's very bitter, and it's very citrusy, I guess is the best way that I could describe that.
That's a very citrusy coffee. Surprisingly so.
So I really liked the 36-second shot when it was hot, but now that it's cooled down, I don't really like it that much.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. It's super. It still almost tastes too bitter to me on that one. The 30-second one's a little bit better, but honestly, based on tasting all of them, that's why it's really important to taste your shots, especially if you're using different beans all the time.
Yeah.
Because with that coffee, I would probably, because it is such a citrusy coffee, I'd probably go a little bit. I'd probably almost run like a turbo shot with this coffee.
Yeah.
If I was gonna pull espresso, mostly if I was gonna drink this often, it would be probably pour over, just because it probably highlight more of the Teddy Graham. But if I were to pull the shot again, I'd probably want to go around that 22-second range is where I think that it would fall the best. So, what's your thoughts on
Yeah,
your?
I think of the same thing here. So this was the first one. It probably pulled in like 12 seconds. It went just super fast. I can't believe it wasn't spraying out the bottom. Pretty clean for like a really fast shot. I was shocked at how good it was. It's kind of like a turbo shot in a way. I mean, it's cooling down, but you get that nice. It kind of I get like that cinnamon graham cracker. It says graham cracker, which I mean that's just a really good representation of this coffee. But you get the cinnamon is more of like I say like peach and pear, more pear than peach.
So, would you say it's acidic at all?
It doesn't have that much acidity, so I feel like the second one that ran slower, definitely more acidic. a little bit more astringent, but it's not like some of those are just like awful astringency. They're just so ugh. This is it's a really nice. Actually, didn't think I was gonna like this one, and it was very good.
And that was the one. How fast was that one?
It was 37 grams in 22 seconds. It was still way too fast.
Yeah, see, I think that would have been the perfect shot. Is 22 seconds for mine.
Yeah. So if I was going to do it again, I'd probably drop it one setting, maybe one and a half settings.
About
And
26, 27 seconds.
yeah, I'd probably do my 18 gram, 32 out, and it'd be probably perfect.
So when you do a because a lot of people always ask like what I mean, you did a really good video on it. It's on espressooutlet.com, like which grinder is best for you, like depending on what your needs are.
Yeah.
If you're someone like us and you have all these different grinders that are unneeded to have as many as we have, but if you do have all the grinders that we have because this is something that you're passionate about, how do you decide which grinder for each coffee? I mean, based on and not just looking at the flat burr or the grinder itself, but like what draws you to a certain grinder when you go to dial in that coffee?
I'd say I'm probably just going to pull the coffee. This probably on like an Atom 75. That's just my go to daily. And it's been neglected really bad lately. Um, that's just like a good baseline. You're going to get some clarity, you're going to get some acidity, but it's not going to be uber complex, but it's not going to be boring. This is going to be a very nice, well-rounded baseline that it kind of excels in all areas. And if I feel like it's a fruity coffee that, like, I just got that Good Brothers coffee. There's like a Indonesian and a Colombian, I think.
Yep.
And I thought I was going to really like it on the multi-purpose high uniformity. And while it was good, it was almost too much for me. I mean, it almost took away from the coffee because it was just so over the top. Um,
You mean in like brightness or
just it was a bean like I can't even hardly explain. It was very unique. It wasn't. I don't even know what it was. I mean, usually I'm not at a loss for words, and this was just a very odd coffee. When I put it back on like the Atom, or I put the DLC burrs in the DF64V, and then I let them age a little bit, it it got a lot better. I'd almost correlate it to like an astringent taste, but it's not like a citrus astringent. It's almost like that, like stone fruit. Like if you're like chewing on the pit, and the pit kind of has that like metallic flavor. It's almost like this really fruity, metallic, weird flavor like I've never tasted before.
so
So
now that you brought that up on you said about the freshness of the bean, since this is a dialing in video, how would you best describe freshness being a big impact to your final cup when someone
very
new is dialing in espresso?
like these Bolivian, I roasted on Saturday, and today is Tuesday, and they're still pretty fresh. I almost guarantee if I can wait long enough and wait it a week, they're gonna be like insane. Typically on my roast that I do, especially on like a washed bean, a lot of people say they don't like fresh roasted coffee. It's pretty interesting if you have the ability, or like if you have a shop that roasts them like then and there, you can taste it. Uh, Taste that fresh roasted coffee, because usually day one and day two, the people say don't drink it. It can be very enjoyable and quite a different experience than what a lot of people experience. Where I usually find is from like day two to day 6 or 7. Sometimes those beans kind of get a sour taste.
Yep.
And then when you go from that like day 7 to day 14, usually about day 10 to 14, that is just like you can't touch it. It's the best coffee you'll probably ever drink.
Yep.
That's your typical washed bean. Now, for example, the Good Brothers stuff. It was a natural fermented bean. They were heavily fermented. Um, I would say typically I would probably wait almost a month to drink those.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't see. That's the hard part is when someone's new to coffee and they're just changing out beans all the time.
Mhm.
They don't really get to experience how they actually enjoy the coffee, because if you're constantly I would recommend that if you're new to coffee, to use the same coffee, at least the same kind of coffee,
Yeah,
for a good month or two, to kind of see what your preferences are on that certain bean, and then move on from there. Kind of jot it down, write a note about it, because it's a big thing, because some coffees you might try it, and if you just tried it within that first week or two,
yeah,
and then you're like, oh, I don't really like it, and then you move on, you never try it again. You could have tried that a month from now and thought that was the best coffee you've ever had.
yeah. And then it
So
just really depends on like your origins too. I think that's where I first started. It's just a local shop. They had the Papua New Guinea. They had some Mexico. They had I don't know. They had a few beans. I really liked the Papua stuff, and then it kind of went downhill. And I don't know if it was just what he was sourcing. Palette was kind of growing, and I was looking for something different. And another new shop in town, they were doing some more of the natural beans or the honey processed beans. And I remember he had this Jaguar honey process, and the guy's like, "Oh, you're just gonna love this," and I didn't like it. Oh, it was terrible, and it really turned me off of honey process. I'm like, number one, I don't even know what honey process is. Number two, it's nasty. So if I see that, I'm not gonna buy it. Started doing some research. I mean, people that are into coffee, I mean, they're gonna know some of these terms, but I had no idea. So
I
like
don't have
wash
any idea what
process,
that is.
they actually wash the green bean. So they pull it out of the cherry, they wash it, and they dry it. Well, when they do that, they're taking all that fruit off the bean, and you're just getting the bean flavor when it's roasted. So if you do a honey process, what they're doing is they're pulling that cherry off, but it's not heavily washed. It's just pulled off. And when they do that, you're not getting that like insane fruit flavor, but you're definitely getting a lot more complex bean. You're getting some of the fruit, you're getting some of the chocolate notes. So kind of a classic flavor is kind of like the chocolate covered raspberry or the chocolate covered strawberry, where you're getting a little bit of fruit, a little bit of that cocoa. Um, and then you go off the deep end with like your natural process, where it's like they literally shrink up like a raisin almost. They pull a raisin off, and the inside that bean it ferments like alcohol, and you're just gonna start getting all these just really crazy fruity flavors. So people going out, I mean, not only do you have your different origins of the world, like I usually think Mexico and South America, a lot of their stuff is very chocolatey.
So
Graham,
speaking of raspberry chocolate or chocolate raspberry, have you ever tried Ona's raspberry coffee?
no,
So I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can get it. I know one of our subscribers, Dane, he actually sent it to quite a bit of us, and this was like when I first started out, with my coffee experience. And when I got it, you literally open the bag and it smells just like raspberries. And I was like, that's crazy.
yep,
So we tried it, and it was like a big group thing. Like me, Hoon, Dane, all kinds of people tried this coffee, same batch, everything, and it literally tasted like a raspberry.
that's
It
great.
was absolutely insane. I don't know what they did or what kind of process or fermentation or anything that they do, but I definitely recommend to try it. It is good.
Yeah, I've had something like that. I think he called it blueberry cobbler, and the name was kind of hokey. And I bought it and I tried it as espresso, and it tasted nasty. And it's not a flavored bean; these are straight single origin beans, like very expensive beans. And tried them as espresso, just real heavy on the acidity and not a well balanced bean. But you put that into a V60, like still to this day, the best V60 I've ever had in my life. And
Really.
I bought all that coffee from him. I just kept buying it every week because it was so good until it was gone. Because it was so good.
So when I first started and I was getting into coffee, I was like, man, all these flavors. So like I actually was looking for a flavored, like what kind of flavor do I want? So I was looking up flavored coffee, and I forget which company reached out to me. I have it somewhere, but they reached out and said, if we send you a bag of beans, you do a review on it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so they sent me like all these different flavors, and one of them was Cinnabon, turtle, and something else. But they actually flavor it with like oils and stuff.
Yeah.
And like as soon as I got it, like most of the people in the coffee community were like, "Oh no, we don't do that." I'm not even joking though. So I probably wouldn't do it again, but it was a good experience. The one that was Cinnabon, I got that, and I started dialing in shots. The shots taste literally like cinnamon, and when I added frothed milk just to the espresso, it tastes like I was drinking the milk of like a hot warm milk of cinnamon toast crunch. It was insane. It was crazy. I was
It's
like,
probably good.
it was great. I mean, my wife even liked it like that, and she
Yeah.
doesn't usually drink coffee straight like that. But it was weird. Like it was like an experience that I probably wouldn't do it again, just because now I actually enjoy the actual process and the taste of like the tasting notes of regular coffee without all the oils added on. But it was pretty good.
And those, just heads up to people, those can mess up your grinder.
Yeah, I know. That's why I
Yeah,
stopped using them.
nasty like that forever with those oils stuck in it.
Yeah, I think for like the next like month, I had to run so many
Yeah.
coffees through because every coffee tastes like cinnamon.
Yep.
Hey, it was a good experience though, and I
Hey,
used my Breville Smart Grinder Pro, I think, when I did it. So I don't even really use that grinder anymore. It's just stored away collecting dust over there.
yeah, there's a local one. They call it Jamaican Me Crazy, and they actually have like chunks of cinnamon in it, like the bark,
Really?
and they flavor it with like coconut. And like I would never run it through my grinder, but if you grind like half a pound at their shop and make like a French press with it, Christmas time or something, it's pretty good for a flavored coffee. I don't like flavored coffee, but
I should just get a grinder just for trying out different coffees like that, so many people can go on my channel and be like, "Bro, what are you doing?" No, but uh, like I said, dialing in, everyone thinks it's like the hardest thing in the world
yeah,
when they first
not
get a yeah, and it's super easy as long as you just know that going finer it makes it run slower and going coarser makes it go faster. So you
yeah,
can kind of go baseline from there. About like I said, 4 to 7 seconds per adjustment, depending on the grinder. But I would say that's a fair estimate on pretty much
yeah,
all grinders.
pretty
So
much. Yeah,
do you have anything else to share
I
before
really don't
we
have a whole
conclude the
lot.
video?
We'll probably be doing more. Kind of went long on this. Let's see. I've been playing with this fellow. So far, it's not off to like the best start. I'm not super impressed with it, but I'm gonna do a conical grinder comparison. We have this fellow. We have this SK40. I actually have my old SD40, and I have a Baratza ESP. So I want to start playing with those this week and do a quick conical comparison because it is. I'm not a huge conical fan. I think everyone that's watched me knows I'm not a huge conical fan, but I feel like they do have something to offer your bar. So getting one of those budget $200 conicals, I think, can add a lot to your bar when you have like this 83 over here. Having like two of these, it adds a lot to your bar. You can really do a wide array of different coffees. You can really do a wide array of different methods. If one is overpowering, you might try the other. Um, Conical, I always feel is like more homogeneous and more muted. So if you have one of those really insane coffees, you might not like it on the flat. Maybe you like it on the conical. Maybe you're trying to get tons of clarity and lots of fruit and really get that amazing flavor out of it, and you want to go flat. So trying to do a quick comparison and all these grinders. This is $200. This is $200. Those other two over there, $200. So I mean, they're all the same price. Which one's going to be probably the best money? And is there just kind of pros and cons to each? I like to pro and con it, so that'll be
Yeah,
coming soon.
you're more of a an espresso over a filter guy, right?
Yeah, It's
That makes a big difference on whether you drink out of conical or flat brew, because I feel like the flat brew is really going to highlight espresso a little bit more than conical is.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like when I do like my Aeropress, which in my opinion is like the best filter coffee you can get.
Yeah,
I always like to use some kind of conical for
yeah.
that because I feel like it really brings out a lot of the coffee.
I'll have to try that. I keep saying I'm going to do AirPress, and then I just don't. I usually do 60, but I need to do AirPress. We have like our little hand grinder, and need to do an AirPress with that because I feel like that's a nice little duo there.
When I was starting to do the Aeropress like 2 years ago, I got to the point where I was doing Aeropress so much that I don't think I touched my espresso machine for like a month. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh crap, I should probably use my espresso machine again.
that's how it was for quite a few years when I had like my cheap espresso machine at home. I actually found myself making AeroPress at work more than getting up and making espresso. But my espresso machine sucked. My grinder sucked. So doing the AeroPress, it just seemed to work out. And I grind just like a little tiny Tupperware before I left the house. And the AeroPress was really good where I really wasn't enjoying my espresso. But once I upgraded grinders, like I went from a Barazza Preciso, which is conical, and within the matter of like 2 weeks, I got a Rocket Faso, which is like an Atom 65 or pretty similar to like your DF64. And then I actually got a used Super Jolly that someone gave me. And then I ended up restoring it. So I went from kind of a bad, crappy grinder to two really capable, really interesting flat brewers. So from there on out, that was the turning point for me. I didn't even own that grinder for. I barely let my espresso machine heat up when I got that 65 millimeter, and I was already trying to pull shots, and I'm like, "This is insane! Like the difference between these two is insane, and it's not even like dialed in. It's not even hot, and it was like that big of a difference to me."
Did you like espresso when you first tried it though?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was terrible.
you got espresso. I've had like friends that I used to work with, and I've had them do the shop, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't think I've ever had espresso. Like, I probably had like your Starbucks whatever drink." And I'm like, "No, you got to have like I'm gonna make you a black espresso. I guarantee you've never had one. And I guarantee you'll probably never have one this good again. Not tooting my horn, but people just don't make a good black espresso. Even if you go to a shop, you say, "Give me an espresso shot." We were talking about this the other day, Dylan, and
Yep.
pull their 12-second shot and slam it into some milk and charge you $7 for it. And it's awful. And I brought a couple guys over here and I made them some shots. They're like, "I'm not saying it's bad. Like I wasn't expecting this at all. Like it's so complex and so over the top and so not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like extremely strong Folgers or something, but they're like, man, it's like some complex whiskey or like some complex something wine. They're like, I don't really know what it is. Like I can't even put my finger on it. Like I don't know if
So
it's from days
would
because
you say it's an acquired taste or no?
I'd say it's acquired.
Yeah.
Good, really good shots is acquired taste.
Yeah, because my first couple, I mean, I wasn't very good at pulling espresso, but when I did end up getting some of the times dialed in, and obviously I wasn't using good beans either, but the first couple, probably first couple months on my channel, I just had to keep trying different coffees because obviously I created a YouTube channel, so to
Yeah.
start drinking them, and every single, I didn't hide it, I didn't say it was good, I was just like, oh, that's terrible. And everyone would laugh. They'd be like, "How do you have an espresso channel if you don't even like it?" I'm like, "Well, I like lattes."
Yeah.
And then it just got to the point where I might have a cortado here and there, just because the milk kind of brings a coffee a new life every once in a while with different coffees.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, I just drink straight espresso. I think it's great.
I just drink straight anymore. And that's kind of a downside for me because to drink straight, you usually have to have pretty good grinder and pretty good beans.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to have some pretty nice beans. Otherwise, it's not drinkable. So, like all your blends, like your espresso blends, like I could care less. I don't want that. That's gross. I'm not putting milk in it. I want something that I can drink straight.
Yep.
This Bolivia, I had no idea. I didn't know if it was gonna be good or not, but I mean, it's solid. Out of this Mexico honey process, it's solid.
Would you
There-
get it again?
yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I'm actually probably gonna go buy like 5 pounds of this from the Captain's Coffee. Someone gave me these, and yeah, they're really good. I roasted them on Lido.
How much are they per pound? You know?
I don't know. I haven't even looked. I don't even know if they have them anymore.
How long has it been?
I didn't buy them. Someone sent them to me, so
Oh.
they sent me the green.
Oh, you roasted it.
Yeah, they sent me a bunch of samples of green just to see what I'd like, and we kind of shared some. And uh, I've just had these 200-gram packs. It's not much to roast. It's a sample roast. So I roasted 3 different samples. I had the other half this Mexican. It's a honey process, which Mexico can go either way for me. It's usually never bad, but sometimes it's a milk drink. Sometimes it can be okay for straight. This honey process is like it's legit, like straight black espresso. So
I think we should definitely do that this summer. We have a lot of time, obviously, to roast and kind of. I mean, it'd be good for me because it's nice to know the Toledo roasters a lot more. But just to get the exact same greens and then roast them and then shit
Right.
like send them to each other, and then that way we can dial them in and try them together to kind of see what your roasting style is compared to mine on the same bean. I think that'd be pretty interesting.
and need to start doing some cupping. So get a little cupping spoon. I was probably going to cup these today and talk about them a little bit.
So I
I'm
have
sure,
the
but
original. So the owner of High Ground Coffee actually gave me the Specialty Coffee Association of America. They don't make them anymore,
awesome.
but he actually sent me 2 of these with the original spoons.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was really nice of him. And like I said, they don't make them anymore. So, but this is the actual coffee association for cupping. So I mean, I don't know. The first time I tried cupping, I probably did it way wrong,
Yeah.
but I tried it and I just got a mouthful of grounds, and it was terrible. I'm not gonna lie, it was absolutely terrible. I'm like, why do people like this?
It was kind of a weird deal. I bought a cold brew toddy, and you could send in for a bunch of free filters. And I just sent it in, and they sent it in the mail. And I'm like, oh, I have plenty of filters. So I didn't open it for like a year because I don't make cold brew that much. And it just sat there in the shelf. But one day I needed some filters. So I finally opened up it was like an opaque clear bag. There was no filters, and they sent me this like $50 cupping spoon. I know. This is like, okay, I don't know. I mean, I win, I guess, but
So you didn't even mean to, they sent you the wrong thing?
they sent me the wrong thing, and it's like a really nice spoon.
Do you only have one?
I only have one spoon.
How do you do cupping with one spoon?
Just rinse it.
Oh, yeah.
I probably need to buy a couple, but I just usually I don't have any fancy bowls. I just usually use like a cappuccino or a latte cup, and I don't do much cupping. So usually it's going to be like 1 or 2 origins. I just use one spoon. And I don't do it that often. I should do it more now that I have the roaster. And it seems like I keep thinking like I'm going to do it, and then I just don't.
So when you cup, you just ground coffee and then you pour it obviously, and then once you pour it, you let it sit for I don't know 3 minutes and 30 seconds, 4 minutes, and then you just take the outside crema and then keep rinsing your spoon, and then once it's all gone and the coffee grounds that are raising the top are gone, then you just take it and you slurp the top part of it, right?
That, or you can anything that's floating on the top, any of the oil, any of the grounds, you just scoop off, you rinse it off, and then you pull
Don't
that
you get
in.
don't you get coffee grounds still though? Like you still taste coffee grounds though in your mouth.
Now, if you do,
No?
a lot of
Oh
them
yeah.
fall. and then anything that's on top you skim off and you throw out.
Yeah, I need to do that again because I got a mouthful of grounds and it
We'll
was.
do it. We'll give it a try. I probably need to get like a couple different cupping spoons. I just have it's a full set of just some of my cups, not these rocket cups. So I have 4 different cups that I can cup with.
Let's see. John said, "Hi Dylan, I'm moving on from my old Breville dual boiler. In your personal opinion, what's a better upgrade, Lillet Bianca or La Marzocco Linea Mini? I saw you have both." So, in my opinion, if you are at home, unless you plan on doing some kind of like commercial business with the espresso machine, hands down, even though I love La Marzocco, and obviously everybody on my channel knows how much I love the company, I would go with the Lip Bianca for sure, just because you have so much, it's so much more versatile. You can do your pressure profiling, you have the steam power, you have the hot water spout. It's obviously timeless. It looks good. And I mean, as long as you take care of pretty much any of the machines, they're going to last a long time. So for the money, I mean, now it's like half the price because La Marzocco raised their price of the Linea. You can get the micro now, but you get more bang for your buck with the Le Bianca for sure. So I would 100% stick with the Le Bianca. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
I'd probably go with the Bianca too, and I'd probably keep it open. I'd look at all your big hitters that are all in the same price. You have the Bianca, you have your Rocket R58. Now, somewhat of a problem with the R58 is it's so proven that they haven't changed it much. Sometimes people think that the extra bells and whistles on the other make it better. I don't really think so. It's a solid machine. The Quick Mill Vetrana, that's what I have at my house. I mean, that's about the same price. It's actually less than the Bianca, and I actually think it's nicer than Bianca personally. And then you have your Profit 500, and I'd say all 4 of those are about the same price and about the same quality overall. So those would be the 4 that I would look at.
Yeah, I wouldn't even look at the La Marzocco to be honest. If you're a home user, even though I love the machine and stuff, it's just not. It's not practical um, for at home use if you're making 1 or 2 a day.
Joe
Because
Duetto as well, the Alex Duetto. The Alex machines are pretty cool machines. Very
I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, they've been around for a little while. And then you have Bazura.
Heard of the Zero.
They're they're a fantastic machine. I feel like their fit and finish is a little rough, but they are a fantastic machine. I'd own a Bazura in a second too. So another option. I mean, if you want to go completely different away from the E61, you can go like the Les Pas. Les Pas are pretty cool. You do have the 53 millimeters, so that turns some people off, but a couple people in the espresso group, I mean, they just love the spas. And I had the Dream Tea for a while, and that one was kind of hard to give up because I actually liked it that much. It was a
And
solid.
they make a 110 volt too. So
Yeah,
if you want to plumb in one for home and you only have 110 volt, I mean they make a 110 for that. So
they're not that expensive. They're probably less money than the others that I mentioned, but they're you're going to get the same features. You're going to get a dual boiler, PID. You can get tank or tankless. A lot of those other ones you can do either or, where the Spazzle you're either tank only or plum only. So that's kind of a downside if you're wanting to maybe swap it up in the future or something. So you have to make a choice. You can't flip back and forth, but that's another pretty solid option. So I mean, there's 5 that I go look at. Actually, if you go to the Espresso Outlet blog, go to espressooutlet.net, and then over on the I think it's the left side it says blog. You might have to scroll through a couple different tabs, but I've actually reviewed almost all of those machines. There's like 30 to 50 pictures, took the case off, and a lot of people they're like, "Man, I found that review and that sold this machine for me." And everyone has a different opinion on what machine they want to buy, but that'd be something else you can go check out.
and I would look at a rotary pump
Rotary,
because
nice. The Dream Tea I think is vibratory. Yeah, I think the rest are rotary.
yeah, I mean don't you think rotary? I mean, you're gonna get a lot smoother. I like the. I mean, I have the Breville Barista Express. Obviously, that's vibrating pump. Um, or is that a vibrating pump?
The Breville?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you can tell a pretty big difference. I mean, stability, everything.
Yeah.
So
Stability, and you're going to get a more consistent pressure. Um, People that are out trying to buy a machine, if you're getting a plumb machine, your plumb machines are pretty much always going to be rotary because you can't have a vibratory pump on a plumb machine. So that's one thing. You're going to get a little bit better flow control, and if you use a flow control, it's going to work a lot better on your rotary pump.
yeah.
Your rotary pump's going to allow some to go past, where your vibratory pump is just pulsing, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just not the same.
All right. Well, we went a little long in this video, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Obviously, if they're still here, then they like the conversation of just
yeah.
random coffee topics
Keep come
afterwards.
and go, and a couple questions pop up. It's been fun just talking gear and what works. And yeah, if you guys, I didn't catch you asked the question. If you got any questions, you can reach out to us, and we'll answer any questions you got. Or if you want to see some links on anything, and we have a write up on it, you can ping us, and we'll send you some links. But it's pretty
If you
fun.
have any questions or
A
any
lot of
trouble with gear, you can contact us and we'll make a video for you as well. So
what do you have coming, Dylan? Don't you have some new stuff coming?
I got a couple new things coming. Yeah.
Got like a pallet of stuff coming.
Yeah, I had to buy a bench from Lowe's. It's gonna take over my other room, but I didn't have any more room for any more stuff. So now I have a lot of room for stuff. So that's good.
Yeah, I got let's see. It's the Musica, Nuova Musica. It's coming probably this week, maybe next week. I don't know.
You excited for it?
I am kind of excited for it. I mean, it's a commercial machine. It's a single group. I think it's the tank only. I'd have to go back and look. I think it's gonna be. It's a heavy machine. It's a big machine, but I think it's gonna be fun to play with for just the commercial side of things. It's probably less for home, more for it's an industrial machine, so it'll be interesting. I got a couple friends that work at coffee shops. I might have them come by and see what they think about it. I mean, they use their older two group lineas. So I mean, they're like $20,000 machines. But it's funny because I see them use them, and these machines, they're all crappy and broke, and all the buttons don't work, and they need like heavily serviced. So maybe
All right. Well, we got a lot of great content
a
coming
lot of
up.
stuff coming.
Oh yeah, I might need some help plumbing in that new machine I got coming. So.
Easy,
All
easy.
right, guys. Well, we appreciate your time. If you have any questions, like I said, you can contact Barrett or I. Go on Espresso Outlet. Just comment on any of the videos. If you need extra help on anything, we'll make a video for you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been great. Thanks for Barrett for tuning in and joining with us.
That's
And
fun.
yeah, we'll probably be here sometime either this week or next week again on another live. So if you have
Yep.
any questions, you have
Let us
anything
know
you
what
want to
videos.
cover. What's that?
Let us know what videos you want, if anything.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Barrett, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you guys.